Welcome to Two Errors, One Mindset. This is the place for younger adults and parents who are ready to build a better life, starting with their thoughts.
I'm Solomon. I'm right here in the mess of it, trying to figure things out just like you. I'll share what's working now.
And I'm Michael. My job is simple: to coach you through the biggest challenges using the mental tools that actually matter.
Every week, we blend my real-world perspective with my dad's professional coaching wisdom, giving you the playbook for confidence and control.
No hype, just clear steps. Let's roll. Happy New Year, Solomon.
Happy New Year.
How does it feel to be in 2026?
The same as it was in 2025 and 2024.
What's the goal for this? What's the goal for this year? Do you have any?
Just to go day by day and have a good year.
That's a good point. Go day by day. What does that mean for you?
Just, focus on one day at a time. Don't look too far ahead. Don't stress over anything that's out of my control. And
great point. Focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
In any given day, what do you really have control over?
Just yourself and what you do. Can't control what anyone else is doing. Can't look at this guy over here and say, damn, why is he not doing that? You can't control that.
Exactly. But if you're studying for a test, or if you have a test coming up, you could get yourself all worried about it and think about it. But in that scenario, what do you really have control over?
Just you and how you prepare, and how you can control whether you worry or not. If you really stress and look ahead, like you have a test in a week from now and you're looking at that date on the calendar, say, oh my God, I only have 7 days. What am I going to do? Or you can say, I have 7 full days to prepare for this. And you take it day by day, even hour by hour. And if you do that, you're not going to stress. You're going to take it slow. You're going to relax, and all is going to be good.
Great point. Because if you do for all 7 days, all you do is just worry about the test, how will that actually help you?
It won't. And you're actually going to show up for that test and think it's going to be worse than it actually is, because all you're going to be doing is thinking about it and how bad it is. But if you take it slow and say, today I'm going to work on this part, and that part, right? That's much easier than going down the calendar for a whole week and thinking, oh my God.
Exactly.
Right.
If you have specific things, specific tasks, specific studying for a test, for example, like today I'm going to spend an hour. That's what I have control over. That's what I need to do. And I'm going to handle that.
Right.
And that's the task that you handle, and you do that.
Exactly.
Why would that be so important to, again, just do that versus everything else, all the worry? Because isn't that the only thing you actually have control over?
Exactly. You don't have control over how many days until the test. All you have control over is what you do.
It's a great point. So here's an example of a client that I work with. One of my clients, he was like halfway through the year, and he was shy of his goal by a significant amount. And so I said to him, well, what do you have control over in this situation? In other words, do you have control over the worry about the goal? And what do you think he said?
He said no.
There's nothing he can do about that. I said, what do you have control over? So he said, well, I have control over the specific actions that I take on a daily basis. I said, great. What are those actions? He said, well, I've got to pick up the phone and call people. I've got to get in front of people. And if I do the amount of, and he had a number of that per day, that's the only thing I have control over. I said, that's fantastic. Are you committed to doing that? Yes. He just stayed focused on doing the things that he had control over, which were, I'm going to make the phone calls, I'm going to get in front of people, and I'm going to do a certain amount per day. And he wouldn't stop until he met that certain amount per day. But once he met that amount, he did his job for the day. Yeah. What do you think ended up happening?
He hit his goal.
He hit the goal. Not only did he hit it, you know what day he hit it on?
Early, maybe. He hit it early?
Actually, he hit it on
right on time.
Day of the year.
Wow.
But he hit it. But remember, he was very far behind, and he was thinking, how in the world am I going to do this? Now, this is what a lot of people do, don't they? You get worried about things that we don't have control over. And that's a perfect example, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's great. That's better than a test, because that's a real world
This is a real life situation. What other real life situations are there that we potentially get worried about? What about money? I have at the end of the month, and I'm not saying me, but at the end of the month, someone needs to pay a big bill. And as of right now, they don't have that money. They have a choice. They could sit and worry about it for all day long and all night, or what would they be better off doing?
Working to get that money or working towards ways to get that money in other ways than they're used to.
Right. And doing the things that they can control. Okay.
Yeah.
In order to make the money, I have to do A, B, and C. Those are the things I have control over. Those are the things I'm going to do. I don't have control over right now, definitely hitting the goal, but I have control of the actions that I can take to hit the goal.
Right.
What do you think happens when you take the actions?
You start to get results
You get results, and then how do you feel?
a lot better than you would if you weren't taking the actions.
Yeah, and when you feel better, what ends up happening? Do you do better? Do you get better results?
Yeah, you don't even notice it, but you do. You start performing better.
And the fear dissipates. The
Yeah.
fear dissipates from taking action, from moving. Because when most people are nervous about something, what are they doing?
They're not being very productive. They're kind of going in circles.
They're staying in their head. They're thinking the thing over and over. And again, a lot of times maybe they're sitting in their room, they're sitting on the couch, they're sitting in their house, but they're not doing something that they could do, that they do have control over for that specific thing.
Exactly.
So taking an action is really important to allowing fear or worry or anxiety to dissipate. And it's taking action on the things that we can control.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I completely agree. I think most people would.
Why do you think most people don't do that?
Well, they don't really know any better.
No one
And
ever
it's not
told them.
their fault. They just, it's normal to get stressed.
It's normal to get stressed. And when you get stressed, your subconscious mind has that program. The program runs and you do the same thing over and over again. Because
Yeah.
if you're not aware of what you're doing, what will you continue to do?
Same thing.
Same thing, worry, fear, doubt, anxiety, depression. And it all comes from the same thing, our thoughts.
Same place.
Everything comes from our thoughts. It would be absolutely impossible, don't you think, to be depressed or anxious if you didn't think?
Yeah. Be impossible.
What would you be worried about?
Well, if you didn't think at all, you probably wouldn't be able to feel any emotion.
But being able to allow your thoughts to just kind of
Yeah. Oh,
slow
yeah.
down and quiet down. But what do you do to do that? Because that's a thing that a lot of people struggle with. It's like, we've got these thoughts, they're amped up. Okay, we know we can take action. That's one thing. But what else can we do?
Well, I feel like everyone has different ways that they handle that. Taking action, I think, is the best one. But some people actually do the opposite. They'll sit and do absolutely nothing, which can be good to an extent. If you're doing absolutely nothing for a little bit and really resetting your mind, that's a good thing. But if you sit and do absolutely nothing for weeks, then, we have a little problem.
Yeah. And again, it depends. Like maybe sitting and doing nothing because you've been so frantically taking action from a very scared and nervous place. You're
Yeah.
right. Maybe you need to sit down, take a few deep breaths, relax a little bit. And then when you're feeling a little bit better, go and do that thing.
And that helps a lot.
Which
Doing it that way, taking an hour, taking a few minutes just to, reset everything going on up there, it can make a huge difference.
That's right. If you drive your car for 72 hours straight, what's probably going to happen to the car?
It's going to need some gas.
It's going to need gas and it might run into a problem because you literally didn't give it a break. So
Mhm.
if we don't give ourselves a break, what's potentially going to occur?
We'll turn into that car.
Yeah, we're gonna break down, and it's normal. It's totally normal to have that if you don't set up ways for yourself to kind of calm down and relax.
Right.
So, what would you say are a couple ways that people could get themselves to slow down?
Well, for me, during finals, when I was really stressing, I would take maybe 20, 30 minutes and sit there, put my phone down, do absolutely nothing, and literally just stare at the ceiling or stare into space and just let all my thoughts just leave my head. Let everything leave my head. Kind of get into a mode where I wasn't really there. Like I was asleep without being asleep, if that makes any sense.
Thank you for listening to our conversation today. Your support means the world to us.
Honestly, it does. We started this podcast to share what we're learning about mindset, and knowing that it's helping even one person out there makes it worth every minute.
Yeah, we'd be so grateful if you consider supporting the show.
You can visit buymeacoffee.com/mindset1 and treat us to a cup of coffee. Think of it as a small, kind gesture that fuels our future episodes.
Now let's jump back into the conversation. Well, kind of like an athlete would go into the zone, right?
In the zone, yeah.
is-
I was in the zone of nothing. There was nothing going on up there, which was a good thing because I didn't want anything to be going on.
That's a great place to be able to get yourself. So how do you get yourself there? In other words, it's racing, you're sitting there, you're looking at the ceiling. Are you just staying focused on the ceiling? Or are you paying attention to your thoughts? What are you doing?
I'm definitely not paying attention to my thoughts. I'm letting everything leave.
You're just kind of allowing it.
Yeah, just allowing it to happen. And when you allow it to happen for long enough, it all kind of goes away. Usually you're not allowing it. You're trying to block it or trying to counter it. And that's what causes the problems. But if you really spend some time and just let everything flow, it'll go away, at least for me.
But it's a practice, right? The very first time you did that, maybe it didn't work as well.
I got restless after 5 minutes. It didn't work.
But then what did you end up doing?
Kept doing it, kept trying it because I knew it would work eventually. And now whenever I need to reset, that's what I do.
It's practice, like anything. You can't be good at something unless you practice it for a period of time.
100%.
Whether it's a sport, whether it's typing. There's a computer in front of me, right? When I first started typing, I was looking for each letter on the keyboard and it took forever. But I got good at it. How? Because I kept doing it. And now I can look at the wall.
You didn't even need to practice. When you typed, you weren't saying, oh, I'm going to set aside an hour to practice typing. No, you just naturally did it. And that's what made you better at it.
Exactly. So again, it's the practice that makes anyone good at anything. And so if you're feeling that anxiousness and you sit down and you're looking at the wall and your thoughts are still racing and you can't seem to get yourself to calm down, just keep practicing it. And then eventually what ends up happening?
You feel really good and you master it. It's almost like a meditation, but not at the same time. It's an interesting way to do things. I think I look crazy when I'm doing it because I'm literally sitting there like this, staring at the sky. But
my mentor said that a long time ago. What he used to say, there were two different ways you could do it. You could light a candle and put the candle
and
on
watch
the table
it.
And just watch the flame. All you're doing is just watching the flame. And every time you start to think,
you focus on the flame.
Just go right back to the flame. Right. And then you start to think and then just go back to the flame. And what happens is that gap starts to widen. So I'll have more time in between a thought and the candle. And when you practice that enough, what happens?
Yeah, it becomes a normal, thing. You can do it all the time.
Yeah, you certainly get better at the gap. So like you do, you sit down, you look up at the ceiling, you're staring at something on the ceiling. Your thoughts are happening, but you're staying focused on the ceiling. Then the thoughts, then you're staying focused on this. It's kind of the same thing as the flame.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is it's a form of meditation. And if you do it, it works.
It does. It does work.
If you don't do it, what happens?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and you don't feel good. You don't feel good at all.
Well, your mind feels like it's racing and you don't want that.
Right. It's constantly racing. So that's one way of doing it, right? You look at the ceiling, you look at a little candle. When a thought comes up, just notice it and go right back to the flame and you just, or the wall, whatever you're looking at. That's one way to kind of get your thoughts to settle down. What do you think another way might be?
Well, another way that worked for me is you still do what you're focusing on, like whether it's work or whether it's studying but you really slow it down. You slow it down and you literally like read it as if you're sounding out the words. You go so slow that if you kept up that pace the whole time, you wouldn't get through half a page, but you go so slow and it really calms you down. But at the same time, you're taking in information. And I think it's very interesting to do that because you think, what the hell, that's not going to work. But it does. It really does.
Why you're 100% right, and it's actually a very smart way to do it. What do you think's happening when you're going really slow that prevents you from going to your thoughts?
Well, you're focused on whatever's in front of you and you're doing it so slowly, it's impossible to think of anything else.
Because when we're feeling fearful or anxiety, our focus is usually where?
Not on what it should be.
Right. So when we're focused on the candle, when we're focused on the wall, when we're focused on the piece of paper and we're going slow on the paper, it's not allowing us, because our focus is there, our focus isn't on our thoughts.
Right.
And so when the thought comes back up again, if you're focused on that paper, you just keep going back, and the going slow is good because you're staying focused on the word as you go through each one. But
Yeah.
that's a very good way to do it too.
Yeah.
Slow down, because when you're feeling anxious or you're feeling that worry, are you usually operating at a slow pace?
No, you're going too fast. You're like, see on the camera, I'm moving my hands around. That's what it feels like. That's
Yeah,
what it
it's
in
like
your head.
literally like your head is shaking, right?
It's like a racquetball in your head.
Just
It's like the ball's hitting the wall, coming back, coming back. It's insane. That's what it is.
That's a good visual for, so the thoughts are kinda like that. They're bouncing off the wall and
Like
they're literally
Pong, like you used to tell me the Atari Pong. That's
yeah,
what it's like.
yeah, it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth and
That's
back and
right.
forth, and then it speeds up, and
Ugh,
that's when doing what you're talking about, which is slowing yourself down by looking at the candle, the ceiling, the paper.
right,
Those are all great things, again, because what it's doing is it's taking our focus from our thoughts, because it's only our thoughts that are creating the feeling.
right.
It's nothing else. It's the
Mhm.
thought. Because why would one person who has a test coming up not be worried at all? What would be the reason for that?
For them not to be worried at all.
Here you are, you're kind of feeling worried, and they're not.
Well, they could be an expert, first of all. They could feel confident. It's all about confidence, really, because someone could know everything on the test and be confident. Someone could know everything and not be confident.
That's
Because there's
right.
plenty of people that I know and that you know that are the smartest people in the world, but the test comes, they get anxiety, they have a lack of confidence, and that can really affect their performance. It does affect their performance, and that's the difference between the people who are at the top and people who, sort of level out. It's the confidence factor.
And again, confidence comes from experience. It's from doing it over and over and over and over.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you're not, educated, you're not smart, or you are familiar with the topic. It's all about your confidence level. I struggled for a long time. I would go into tests, I would prepare so well. I would write my notes perfectly, like no one had ever seen me do anything like that before. But then I wasn't confident, and I would go into the test and I wouldn't do as well as I could just because I wasn't confident. I was going in with my head down.
Yeah, because when you would go in and then you would sit down and you take the test, where would your thoughts go?
Not the test. They were all over the place, like we said, back and forth.
Right. So if your thoughts are all over the place, where's your focus?
All over the place, and
And
that's
so
not a
how
good
can you
thing.
even understand the question you're reading?
Exactly. You look at athletes when we watch sports, they're in the highest leagues in the world. They all have an incredible amount of skill, but you see the players who are confident and you see the players who aren't confident. And you see the performance, how different, how the gap is insane. And it's all confidence because you know that all these guys are skilled. The confidence factor is what drives people to the top
And confidence comes from doing it over and over.
over
Michael
and over again.
Jordan got his confidence from showing up before everyone and finishing after everyone. That's how he got good, because when he first started, he wasn't the best player. Even the coach said
Yeah,
he wasn't, but he developed because he outworked everyone. So it wasn't that he was smarter. It wasn't that he had more confidence. It was that his confidence came from doing more than everyone else,
right. Exactly.
just through activity and action. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
and
good.
you
Okay.
there's some people who you could take 10 tests, get a 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, and then 160, and they're only gonna think of that 60, and that'll affect the confidence right there because you're doing well, but you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yes, your focus, where should your focus be instead of on the 60?
on the passing grades, on the A's that you got, because you got majority passing grades and you're only going to focus on that 160. It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that in any other thing in your life. You wouldn't.
Yeah, and in that scenario, what's the only thing that you have control over when you're working on studying for a test?
What you think about
Yeah.
while you're studying.
So you think, you know what? I'm going to focus on this section today, and I'm going to do that. And that's where and every time your mind goes somewhere else, you come back to that section, and this is what I do have control over. This is the thing that I'm going to work on.
Exactly. You bring up money all the time. You know, I bring up tests, you bring up money because you work and I'm in school. It makes
Right.
sense. But I could say the same thing. I'm guessing you have 10 good months and one bad month working. And there's a lot of people who are only going to focus on that bad month and say, damn, that was really underwhelming. What am I going to do now? But you had 10 months when you went over. So, you know, it gets to a point where you have to look at it from a broader perspective and say, look, I kicked ass for 10 months and I had 1 month that wasn't so good. 10-1, I like my odds.
Yeah, that's a great point. And when you have that one bad month, you can look and say, well, what happened in that month?
Yeah,
Did I
you
do
learn from it.
something right? Was it something that I did? Did I get a lack of sleep? Did I do less work than I normally do? Or was it just maybe that's just how this month unfolded?
Yeah, then
In other
that
words,
happens.
yeah,
It's
if
not a
you could
perfect
learn
world.
something from that, try to learn something from that 1 month that wasn't good, and then you can use it for the next month. But other than that, it's in the past.
Right.
But, people say that's in the past, but how many times did they bring the past back into the present moment?
All the time. All the time. It happens. It's way too often, but there's good in bringing up the past. Because there's plenty of good things that have happened in the past, but you only hear people bring up the things that shouldn't be brought up.
And if you can take the lesson from that, like, oh, this bad thing happened, but this is what I learned from it, and this is how I grew, that's
Then,
fine. Because at
yeah.
least now you're talking about something good that came from it. But other than that, why would you bring it up? Why would you tell the same story of something negative over and over and over and over again? What's going to happen if you do that?
You're gonna, sort of engrave it into your head, and then your other results might reflect that.
Yeah, and someone that's doing that, they're saying that same thing over and over. This is because this is the thoughts that are going on in their head. Now all they're doing is they're speaking their thoughts out loud. So you can always tell how someone's thinking based on the words that are coming out of their mouth.
Always.
You know that if they're saying all these things about this person, that person's been renting space in their mind for months.
That's right. That's
So
right.
it's really
And you
good
can tell
information.
right away.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
can. No, you can tell right away. You can tell when someone, because they keep talking and then they say, "Oh, I don't care. I don't care about that." Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's in your head. It's coming out whether you want it to come out or not. It's coming out because it's all in your head. It's insane. And the number one thing I want people to know, that when they hear someone talking about someone else or some topic and then the person immediately says after, "Yeah, I don't care about it. I don't care. It doesn't bother me." They're not telling the truth. They're
Yeah,
not.
because if something really didn't bother you, what would you say?
You'd forget about it.
You
You
wouldn't
forget
say
about There's
anything.
so many things that happen every day to all of us that we don't care about and don't bother us, and we forget them already. We forget. They're not even in our heads right now. Like, I couldn't tell you a certain thing that happened this morning. I forget because it didn't affect me at all.
It's so true. It's like if you said to me, "It's sunny out," and I said, "Oh, I don't care." Well, of course I do. Like, in other
Yeah.
words, if you said it's sunny out, I would just say, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah.
But if something affects you and then you say, "Oh, I don't care," the way that you say it
It's the
says
way
that
you say it.
right?
Exactly.
It's you would never say that unless it actually did bother you.
There's one time I heard someone say they were talking about this person over and over and over, and then they ended their statement by saying, "I hope I never see them again." And I called BS right away, because you're talking about them for an hour here, and then you say you never see them again. You'd love to see them again.
It's interesting. I'm interested to hear what you think of this.
Sure.
They say that when someone speaks about another person, that you're seeing a quality in that person that is similar to something that you don't like about yourself.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example and then I'm interested in your opinion. So I come up to you and I say, Solomon, it really annoys me how stubborn you are. What's the likelihood that maybe I have a streak of stubbornness within me? And rather than looking at that stubbornness, I'm pointing it at you and yelling at you, but really who I'm yelling at is
It's
myself. Does that
yourself.
make sense?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree. I think that most of the time, if someone calls you out for something, a quality about it's them. They've got to look at themselves. And that's not a bad thing. That's
No.
not a bad thing at all. Like that's part of life. But at the same time, it's a lot of reflection and projection and all of that. That's what it is when someone tries to call you out for a quality you have or that
Yeah.
that they think you have.
And if you get upset about it, what does that tell you about yourself?
That it's true.
That's right. And so instead of getting mad at the person, you say to yourself, hey, you know what? Maybe I do have some of that quality in me. Because if
And
I'm
that's
getting upset
okay.
about it, it's telling me if I said you had green hair, would you get upset with me?
No.
If I said you're an idiot because you failed your last 3 tests and you feel not smart because you're not doing well in school, would
Yeah,
that
it'd
potentially
snap.
bother you?
Yeah, most people
See
would
the
snap.
difference?
But if you did well, you'd say, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, it wouldn't even phase
Yeah.
you. But when there's emotion tied to anything, it's because there's that thing inside of us and that button's being pushed.
Yes.
So again, I'm interested in your opinion. What do you think now? So if you're talking to someone and you say something to them and you're kind of pointing out a flaw in them, what really should we be doing as we move forward?
Looking at ourselves.
Yeah, really looking at ourselves and say, why am I saying that to this person?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be bothered with it if it didn't have some kind of effect within me.
Yeah.
Imagine you're stubborn. Let's just say you're stubborn about what time you're going to go to bed. I,
Yeah. Well,
I'm
that's you. That's you.
right, but for me, maybe I'm stubborn. Maybe I'm stubborn on when I'm good, and then I see
Or
you
what
being
you eat.
stubborn. What?
What you eat. I think that might be the best one for
Stubborn
you.
in what I eat. And
Yeah.
maybe it's annoying sometimes that I'm so stubborn for myself. And so when I see you being stubborn, I say, man, you got to stop that. That's such a
Yeah.
bad quality. You got to improve on that. You got to work on that. There's only one reason I'm pointing it out to you.
Because it's inside of you.
It's like if we held a mirror up in front of the person, so it's reflecting back at us. And so when we're saying that thing, we're actually talking right to ourselves.
Right.
How would that change the world if everyone just took responsibility and instead of blaming and making about the other person, they actually looked inside and talked about themselves?
It would be kind of unfathomable because I don't know what the world would look like if everyone did that. We'd probably live in a better world,
It would be a much
much
happier
better world.
environment.
But that's like, a utopia. That's not really, it's not
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. But maybe who knows? Maybe one day when they're able
One
to
day,
shut our minds or implant something in our head so
and
that we can now
500.
see that quality within ourselves immediately.
Sure.
But before we go, we talked about slowing down, reading, looking at a candle, looking at the wall. What's one other way that you can think of that you could also kind of calm and slow yourself down?
Breathing.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
breathe. Even if it's in the middle of doing your work, even if you stay at that same pace you were at, a few breaths, you taught me this, they can go a really long way. They really can. And you'd say, what? I breathe all the time. No, you don't. You are not breathing. When you're stressed out, you're not breathing. And
It's
oxygen to the brain is very important.
it's incredible because like I got this Whoop, right? It's the thing that it tracks my heart rate, it tracks my sleep, all that stuff. But like when I'm meditating or when I'm breathing deeply, I watch where my heart rate is when I start. And then when I stop, my heart rate drops like 10 or 15 from where it was.
Right.
So that's showing you that when you do take the time to breathe, you're literally calming yourself down because the slower your heart works, the slower your heart beats, the less work your body's doing. And
Right.
again, that just came from just taking a few deep breaths.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We weren't going to talk about any of the stuff that we talked about today, but
It's a
why
good
do you
thing
think
we
we
did.
ended up talking about it?
because like we said earlier, how the thoughts kind of go crazy. That's what happened to us. But I think in a good way. I think we got some good points across.
Yeah, I think so. Because I know for me, especially when I was younger, and even today, there's plenty of times where I have to slow my mind down, because if we can slow our mind down and it's not racing and it's not all this craziness, what do we end up starting to hear when it's actually really quiet?
Our thoughts.
Yeah, but there's something even more powerful than the thoughts, which is like that intuitive. You ever have that intuition which says, ask this question or
Yeah.
do
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing? It's like it's just a feeling. Like you get this feeling that would be the right thing for me
And
to
you
do.
can
Right.
hear that when you slow down.
That's the only time you can hear it is when
Right.
you actually slow down. And that part, which is the intuition, which is coming from the subconscious, if you quiet your mind and you can listen to that, they say that the people that are really good at that, they'll get from point A to point B, right? From point A to their goal way
Yeah.
faster
Oh,
than the
yeah.
person who's trying to figure it out all along the way.
It's good to freestyle sometimes. It's good. You don't have to always figure it doesn't always have to be perfect.
That's right.
When you're going down a path, just keep going. You don't have to figure out why you're walking the way you're walking, why you're not going faster, why you're not going slower. Just let it happen. Let it
Amen.
happen.
Does an artist plan out what they're going to do most of the time?
No. The greatest paintings I read somewhere, like the best paintings, like the top 10 greatest paintings of all time were all made by accident. They're all made by accident. It shows you what you can do if you just let things happen.
Yeah, it's silence that mind as much as possible and then just allow things to just happen. Let your mind be quiet and wait for that next thing that kind of like, oh, you may call that person or do that.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of thoughts. It's just one feeling or one just soft thought that comes in and then act on that. And when you do that and you just do it from that place, you always get your results way faster, but we want to control everything because that's conscious mind is trying to control our thoughts, control everything. And when we do that, it actually takes us away from the true power that's inside of us.
That's right.
So on that note, any final thoughts for everyone or for yeah,
No, I think we got a lot across today. That was
a
a lot.
lot, a lot.
So, yeah, no final thoughts. Just
Good. And
clear
I
the
guess
mind
my
out.
my final thought is that I'm glad we spoke about this. It certainly wasn't anything that we were planning on speaking about, but I truly believe that everything always works out exactly as it should.
Right.
What was is it here? This is a perfect wrap up for this. Before we got on this, we were here before we actually started recording. You were looking at me and laughing because I was trying to figure out what we were going to talk about. I was using my mind to try to figure out all these thoughts. Can I talk about this? Can we talk about that? And then we got on, and instead of allowing my thoughts, I just shut up, and then we started having a dialogue, and the rest
Yeah.
unfolded.
Yeah, we started by saying Happy New Year, and here we are now. There was no script. No script to this one.
So true. It's
It was great.
last thing. I always say last thing. This is the last thing. When I first started coaching, what I would always do is I'd have a script. I would have all the different things that I was going to do. They just never worked out nearly as good as when I just showed up. I was really focused and present on the person and just allowed the thing to unfold.
Right.
Those sessions, everyone always says, man, that was amazing. And yet there was no plan for it. It just unfolded because we didn't put ourselves in the way, if that makes sense.
Exactly. I agree.
That's it, everyone. Have an amazing week, and we will see you next week.
Yes, we will.
Take care. See ya. That brings us to the end of the conversation today. We truly hope you leave here with a few new tools for your mindset toolbox.
If anything we talked about today, from challenging your beliefs to taking that 1% step, resonated with you, we'd love for you to share it.
Our goal is to bridge the gap between generations. If you know a young adult who's struggling with self-doubt or a parent who could use a fresh perspective, please share this episode with them.
You never know which simple questions or ideas might change someone's entire week or even their whole outlook.
You can find our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you again for being a part of our mindset community. We'll see you next time.